This week, we bring you stories from an international event that took place here in Yenagoa, Bayelsa State, organized by the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board (NCDMB). It was the African Local Content Roundtable, which took place at the world-class conference center of the NCDMB. The main purpose of the conference was to provide a platform to enable African oil-producing countries deepen cooperation amongst themselves in the wake of changes in global trends towards renewable energy. The Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum, Chief Dr. Timipri Silva, his counterparts from other African oil-producing countries such as Niger, Algeria, Cameroon, Gabon, and Egypt, as well as private sector leaders in the oil and gas industry in Africa and beyond, attended the two-day international conference at the local content tour, Yenagoa. The Honorable Minister, Chief Timipri Silva, who was a special guest of honor at the event, formally welcomed the African delegates to Bayelsa State and thanked the NCDMB for the bold initiative in hosting the conference.
It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to the maiden edition of the African Local Content Roundtable holding at the Nigerian Content Tower, our symbol of local content in the Nigerian oil and gas industry. I am delighted that this maiden edition is holding in Bayelsa State, Nigeria, which is host to the earliest recorded commercial crude discovery and production in Africa, and indeed Nigeria. I commend the NCDMB for initiating this roundtable. By this effort, you have set the pace as a premier local content regulator in Africa and a worthy example to sister nations that seek guidance to institutionalize local content practices in their jurisdictions. The partnership with Apple is also very commendable, as it will provide a sustainable structure for driving regional collaboration on local content matters. The objective of this Pan-African Roundtable is to institutionalize peer review mechanisms among oil-producing countries on local content as a key development imperative for domestication and sustainable growth of Africa's hydrocarbon resources. Any country that aspires to achieve rapid and sustainable economic growth must put in place an economic model that enables its human capital to harness its natural resources to create wealth and economic prosperity.
The Executive Secretary of the NCDMB, Engineer Simbi Kesie Wabote, who was the chief host, reaffirmed his belief that Africa's issues can best be solved by Africans. He speaks more on the need for the African Local Content Roundtable Conference and the strategic economic importance of hosting it in Yenagoa, the Bayelsa State capital.
I believe that African issues can only be solved by Africans. And we need to start that process of discussion, especially with the existential threat that is facing us as a continent, where so much hydrocarbon resources have been discovered. And now the discussion is about climate change, which we believe in so dearly also, and the need for renewables, which is now the seminar topic all over the world. What that portends for Africa is that very soon our natural resources that we have not even tapped will not be useful anymore. Therefore, we need to start the discussion on how can we use our hydrocarbon resources to migrate into renewables. That's very important for us. So in setting this process going, as NCDMB leading in the development of local content in the oil and gas sector, decided to bring all African oil producers together for us to start that discussion, knowing fully well that sustainability and continuous growth to tackle poverty situation in the continent, to bring about energy sustainability for our people, we need to harness our natural resources for that. Today, African continent produce a lot of precious metals, gold, diamond, and the rest. There is no discussion on the impact of mining those precious metals on the environment, but only hydrocarbon that is expected to lead us out of poverty and bring energy sustainability. That's where the discussion is. So I think it's time for Africans to begin to hold their discussion on how they will use their natural resources to migrate into the renewables that we are talking about today. Why is this symbolic for NCDMB to lead this effort, and also why is it in Yenagoa? I mean, it's very easy. In the continent itself, everybody knows that Nigeria is leading in local content when it comes to the oil and gas sector. We have had so many African countries come to Georgia with us to learn the strategy on how to develop local content in the hydrocarbon sector. So for us, we feel being the leader in that sector, we need to bring other African countries together in order to move the needle and develop local content, since some of them are just discovering the hydrocarbon resources. And the discussion now is to migrate out of it. So how will they survive if we do not handhold them, if you like, to enhance local content in the delivery process within the oil and gas sector? Why is it in Yenagoa? Of course, this is the capital of local content in Nigeria, and perhaps the capital of local content in the world. You can see from the facilities that we have, it's a bold statement of what local content can do, and hence why we are holding it here in Yenagoa.
Events such as this Roundtable conference require a lot of careful and critical planning to successfully execute. So many behind-the-scene activities took place during the preparation stages and even during the events proper. The NCDMB, as the nation's leading promoter of local content practice, is aware of the enormous opportunities a conference of this magnitude brings to the economy of the state hosting it. This may very well have contributed to the board's decision to organize the Roundtable conference here in Yenagoa. We'll go on a quick break. When we return, we will highlight some of the economic benefits the state enjoyed just by hosting the first African local content Roundtable. Welcome back. Before the break, we mentioned the positive impact of the conference in the economy of the host state, Bayelsa. One of the areas where the state benefited from the conference is in the hospitality industry. Delegates came from about 12 of the 18 African Petroleum Producers Organization member countries. Just consider the fact that these delegates from countries like Algeria, Cameroon, Gabon, Egypt, Nigeria, and many others, and their aides as well as local support staff arrived and stayed in Yenagoa for the 2-day event. These visitors obviously patronized the hospitality establishments in Bayelsa State for accommodation, food, and beverages, which counts as direct impact contribution on the state's economy.
First, I want to thank the organizers of this event, the Local Content Board, for choosing Duncan's Homes and Apartments here in Yenagoa as one of the locations where most of the delegates stayed.
Duncan's Hotels and Apartments played a very vital role. First, we want to say thank you to Local Contents for bringing their delegates here to Duncan's Hotels and Apartments here in Yenagoa. We accommodated them, and it was quite a very good thing for us. We had to see that they were comfortable. We had to see to their security. For everyone that came here, I'm very sure they went back happy because they were very, very satisfied with our services. For them coming into the States, we can tell that lots of money has come in. Lots of marketing were done, purchases were done, toiletries, beverages, food. So I can say boldly that money came into the States, money came into Duncan's Hotels and Apartments.
The chairman, Heritage Times, Mr. Moses Siloko Siasia, who was part of the organization process of the conference, says various local vendors were engaged for their services, adding that what is more significant is the engraving of Bayelsa State in the record books as the venue for the very first African Local Content Roundtable.
Well, this program is very timely for continental advancement. And as you can rightly, listen to some of the high-profile big wins, speakers that we had in the event, is the first of its kind. And, the success recorded by the Nigerian Local Content Development and Monitoring Board has to be replicated in other African oil-producing countries. This is very strategic. The reason why it came to Bayelsa is because, Bayelsa is warehousing the NCDMB tours, and Bayelsa is very strategic when it comes to oil and gas exploration. The economic importance of this is the economic advancement that this will bring to the Bayelsa economy. Today, we are hosting this event in Bayelsa State. We have engaged a lot of vendors that are from here. Some of the services that are provided are Bayelsans. We have utilized the human resource of this environment. And some of the vendors are also Bayelsans. And this is one of the surest ways in which we can improve the economy of our state, whereby we are hosting such programs to grow the economy and also to engage the people and also carry out local participation. So I believe that this program is very timely, this program is very strategic, and Bayelsans will benefit from this because this is the first of its kind. When the history books are opened about local content in Africa, it will be said that the first meeting, the roundtable, the first idea that was baited about fostering local content in Africa took place in Bayelsa State. So this is a story we are trying to create. This is a narrative we are trying to create. This is the image we are trying to project for our people.
One of the high points of the conference was the dazzling traditional display put up by the Bayelsa Cultural Dance Troupe, showcasing the rich cultural heritage of Bayelsa State as they entertained the African delegates.
Oh,
The direct impacts on the state's economy by the just concluded African Local Content Roundtable are massive and unquantifiable. However, in addition to the traditional dancers and local food vendors, the services of indigenous events management firms and venue stylists, information and communication technology practitioners, private security personnel, as well as protocol and ushering services providers were engaged to ensure a smooth and hitch-free event. The Secretary General, African Petroleum Producers Organization APPO, APO, Dr. Omar Farouk Ibrahim, who expressed his fascination with the NCDMB's local content tower, commended the fact that the sanitation and maintenance of such an edifice is being handled by local outfits.
This edifice can stand anywhere, whether it's New York, Washington, or anywhere. Really, it's comparable. And I sincerely hope that you guys will be able to maintain it and maintain it. The problem with most of our big infrastructure like this is not building the infrastructure, but maintaining it. Work hard to ensure that 20 years from now, this place is as good as it used to be.
Another area worthy of mention where the African Local Content Roundtable positively impacted the economy of the state is in the area of tourism. The tourism industry has announced and established itself the world over as a major amplifier of economic divergence and has proven that it is self-sustaining. It can also contribute significantly to a country or state's GDP. With tourism sites like the first oil well in Nigeria in Ogbeya local government area, the white men graves and slave trade relics in Brass local government area, and the local content tower in Yenagoa, all within the landscape of Bayelsa State. The General Manager, Research and Statistics of the NCDMB, Abdulmalik Alilu, believes that the state can continue to leverage on events such as the African Local Content Roundtable to develop a viable tourism industry.
When we conceived the idea, we had the option of allowing Apple to decide on the location, or also us taking the lead and taking that leadership. And it dawned on us that, look, Bayelsa State is where oil was first discovered in Nigeria, possibly in Africa. So why don't we bring Apple member countries to Bayelsa so that they've been hearing Bayelsa, they've seen it in several literatures on hydrocarbon development in Nigeria. But let them come and see how Bayelsa looks like, and then let them come and see the institution called Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board. We've had several engagements with most of the member countries. They've heard of NCDMB. They've discussed with us on our models on how we've been able to succeed. But let them come to Nigerian Content Towers to see how Nigeria has been able to institutionalize local content through the establishment of this building. Because this building symbolizes institutionalizing local content in Nigeria. It's sustainable and it's for real. We're also going to take them to the Nigerian Oil and Gas Park scheme in Ogbeya, Emir 1. The essence of that is for them to see how we've used local content to drive infrastructure development. We're creating a manufacturing hub at Emir 1. They'll be able to see how an institution that has the mandate to develop capacity is actually developing that capacity to promote manufacturing of equipment, components, spare parts, chemicals for the oil and gas industry. So it's local content in practical terms. So here, what they have seen from the feedback that I got is they were excited to have come to Bayelsa. They're excited. They're going to visit a practical development area that we are working on, and a lot of discussions is going on even after the conference, even before the conference, in terms of how we can actually collaborate and get that sense of togetherness in terms of developing our hydrocarbon resources.
The Nigerian Local Content Policy was created for the systematic development of capacity in the oil and gas industry. This is done through deliberate utilization of Nigerian services, both human and material resources in the country's oil and gas industry. And of course, it is the duty and mandate of the NCDMB to regulate as well as ensure its continuous growth and development in the country. Well, that's all we have for you this week. It has been our pleasure having you on this episode once again. Please ensure you keep a date with us next week, same time, same station, as we bring you more of the good works of the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, NCDMB. Bye for now.